On the road to MotoGP, this is FAB-Racing.
Marshall points to the lights, and it's red lights on. Red lights off. We're underway for the LC40 Elite. Great start from Harrison Day, but Austin Johnson sweeps around the outside into turn one. Finley Polehill as well gets through, but Sam Gardner takes that P3 back. So it's Austin Johnson leading from Harrison Day with a great start on the right-hand side. He takes the lead of the race. Great start from Johnson there.
Yeah, it really was a good start from Johnson. He's got to want just to get up front, keep the pace high, and just try and get away from any battles, which will then put them back into third and fourth, as there's just a slight gap between the two riders in third and fourth.
Yeah, indeed, but a great start there for Austin Johnson. Got away essentially perfectly from the line with Harrison Day not really having a response. Sam Gardner swept around Finley Polehill as well on that opening lap. So Finley Polehill did take it back, but then Sam Gardner moves back through after a big tumble earlier on today as well in the Elite race, or in the Pros race, apologies. So great to see him back on the bike and doing well. But it is Austin Johnson leading the way. That lap was a second faster than Harrison Day. Of course, it was the first lap of the race. You do have to take into account that lap times not quite exclusive, not quite perfect, but a second faster than Harrison Day on that opening round. Great stuff from Austin Johnson, but Harrison Day closing in that gap, trying to see what he can do, and further back as well. So you see Finley Polehill trying to close up to Sam Gardner. He knows the move is there. He's thinking about a move to the inside there. We've been a bit brave if he did go for it, decides against it. It is quite early into this race, but he's clearly got some pace on board that bike, clearly ready to make some moves.
He is. One thing you will notice on the Minimoto classes is in the straights, riders will tuck in their legs in between their arms. This is just to get a better aerodynamic position and try to get a couple miles per hour, if that, faster down the straight compared to the competitors. Every little edge that you can get over your competitors in Minimotos makes a difference.
Exactly. It was clearly working there for Finley Polehill as he gets back past Sam Gardner into P3. So it is now Johnson from Day, from Polehill, from Gardner, the order for the time being. But Gardner, I'm sure he's not going to take no for an answer. He's going to be fighting back as best as he can. Johnson, another fastest lap of the race there. He's already a second ahead of Harrison Day. Not quite the domination of Archer O'Brien that we saw last season, where if he wasn't 10 bike lengths ahead by the first turn, you're having serious problems on your hand for Archer O'Brien. But Johnson starting to pull away, starting to bridge the gap. But Polehill and Gardner, it's not over just yet. I'm sure that Sam Gardner's going to be trying to fight back, bearing in mind, of course, he did have that big tumble earlier on. Maybe his confidence taking a bit of a knock. Maybe he's carrying a little bit of an injury with him out there, whether it be physical or just a mental block that he's almost created for himself. That does sometimes happen when you have an accident. Obviously, Lewis, I'm sure you're familiar. You come off the bike and suddenly you're just not as confident. You can't manage to get yourself to do what you were able to do before.
It takes quite a while just to get your mind around the fact that you had the crash, and the main part that helps you overcome the crash is understanding why it happened and how you can stop it from happening again. Once you understand that, you just slowly build up your speed and your confidence will come with that. It's a great race so far, with Harrison Day just slightly behind Austin Johnson. But what is vital here is that he'll be able to see where he is losing all the time on Austin Johnson, which means in race 2 tomorrow, it could be a different story.
Oh, it very much could be. Again, of course, if it's your first time here at FAB, it's been a while and you need reminding how things work here. We've got almost all of the race ones today. We would normally have all of them, but we've got some demo runs later on that are taking priority over some other races. So we've got your race ones today alongside your qualifyings, and then tomorrow we come back for race 2s and race 3s. So 2 races from each of the classes, 20 races to look forward to tomorrow. So of course, make sure that you're here to be watching along at the Lydd kart circuit here in Kent. It looks like it's going to be nice and sunny again, even if the temperature is not the warmest, as it is not today. It's quite warm here in R&R international commentary box, but it's not warm outside, I can tell you that much. And well, Austin Johnson, another fastest lap of the race, last time by 56.454. He's now 2 seconds ahead of Harrison Day. But well, as you said, Harrison Day, he now knows what he needs to do coming into tomorrow. He now knows where he's going wrong. He now needs to know the changes he needs to make to the bike overnight, and he can come back tomorrow and give Johnson a fresh fight. They cross the line now, 3 laps to go in this Junior LC40 Elite race on those liquid-cooled Minimoto bikes. And you mentioned tucking in, the riders tucking their legs in to kind of get that slipstream. It's weird because that is a technique that is it's almost unique to the junior riders on the Minimotos. You would have seen in the seniors, they don't do it because they're too big to do it. They can't actually physically get their legs in far enough to do that. So it's a very unique kind of technique for these riders. Again, it's just one of those things that show, no bike is the same. When you get older, when you progress up the classes, the bikes are just, they're so different. And obviously your basic riding technique is the same, but when you're jumping on different things, there's so much stuff that you need to know, that you need to learn, and you need to really be able to adapt very, very quickly if you want to be quick.
Yeah, you certainly do, and the best riders usually do adapt, but some do take longer than others, and most riders will eventually get there if they're given enough time and support that they need. As we see, he comes across the line with 2 laps to go in this race, with Johnson still leading by 3.5 seconds, with his last lap being the fastest lap of the race with a 56.222.
Yeah, great stuff from Austin Johnson. Fastest lap after fastest lap. Sam Gardner, meanwhile, he's unfortunately dropped a little bit away from Findlay Polehill, so doubt that the challenge for the podium is now going to be realised. But again, the same thing that we've been saying about Harrison Day. He's going to be looking at that and going, once the race is finished, he's going to be turning around to his mechanic/parents going, okay, this is what we need to do. We need to improve here, we need to improve here, this is what's happened. And they know exactly what they need to do. And of course, as we've said already, you need to remember that Sam's had a big tumble early today. He's had a big off as we go on to the final lap of the race. The final lap flag, that yellow flag with the black cross being displayed to the race leader, Austin Johnson. So Sam Gardner, you've got to give it to him for the fact that he's even got on the bike for this race is an impressive feat.
Yeah, it really is, especially just how young these riders are to be able to overcome that crash earlier today. And yeah, it's amazing to see him back out there and trying his best. He's not too far off the pace at the moment, with he's losing just a couple tenths over 3rd place each lap, which isn't that bad. Hopefully tomorrow he'll be able to overcome that and we'll have a different result. As we see Austin Johnson just going in the infield section on this final lap of the race, he'll be absolutely delighted with this result if he can just keep himself on the bike for these final turns. It's been a great race for him as he comes round the final corner of the checker flag out. His first win of the season and the first race of the season, Austin Johnson.
Yeah, great ride there from Austin Johnson. Harrison Day, your pole sitter, comes home in P2 after a ride where it was strong but not quite strong enough, but still kudos to him for bringing home in P2. Findlay Polehill will come home in P3 with Sam Garner in P4, but Austin Johnson, again, what a ride. We've kind of had this theme where the leaders have so far just kind of been disappearing off into the distance a little bit.
So place your bets. What's going to happen in this race? Who knows? It's completely different from yesterday. We have a lot of new riders in this class compared to yesterday, so we'll find out pretty soon.
Exactly. You can see there the 2 Johnson brothers on the right-hand side of the grid. Austin Johnson has moved up. He's starting from 2nd. He's exclusively in the elites this year. Byron Johnson, his brother, behind him on the 37. He's racing the pros this year. Great to see them back on the track together. It was a bit strange to see them not separated yesterday. I was so used to seeing them just racing side by side as they so often did, but now the marshal points to the digital flag. The lights come on. It's lights off. We're underway for the LC40 Elite. It's a great start from Austin Johnson around the outside. Looks like he's going to take the lead into turn 1 from Harrison Day, who went off the pole. And there we can see, lots of bikes coming around the back, but it is Austin Johnson that leads him. Is that Byron, his brother, who's managed to squeeze up into 2nd place? So Byron Johnson in 2nd from his brother Austin in 1st. The 2 Johnson brothers both pipping Harrison Day off the line. So it's Harrison Day that I believe Findlay Polehill's 4th, but the 2 Johnson brothers off and going like they weren't even separated.
Yeah, exactly, and there's 11 bikes in this class, which is amazing to see, and it's amazing for the Johnson family to have their bikes first and second. Although they're brothers, they will happily race each other hard.
Yeah, exactly. Brotherly love goes out the window on the racetrack. I mean, I'm sure they'll be smiling under their helmets, but they will be racing each other very, very hard. I mean, they're a bit like the Birkins, except they don't crash into each other anywhere near as much. They're much cleaner riders, much more respectful out on the racetrack, if you will, but they're both very, very talented, very, very quick. Austin Johnson there at 58.195, absolutely flying on that opening lap of the race. Of course, it's important to remember Byron Johnson, he's on an AC bike, he's on an air-cooled bike. The liquid-cooled bike that Austin Johnson is on is faster. So and Harrison Day behind as well is on that faster liquid-cooled bike. So I'm not sure if Byron Johnson is going to be able to hold on. You can see there already a bit of a gap forming between him and his brother. I'm sure that's down to the bike again. Austin and Byron both very, very talented. He's got someone there struggling, it would seem, with mechanical issues at the side. I believe that's Dylan Torian, the 88 at the side of the road. And there goes Harrison Day looking up the inside of Byron Johnson, trying to see if he can squeeze through, but unable to at the moment. And yeah, I think after that opening lap, it's quite clear the pace difference between the liquid-cooled and the air-cooled bikes. Harrison Day, Finley Polehill, P3 and 4, they're both on those liquid-cooled elite bikes, and Byron Johnson on that air-cooled pro bike, and his brothers streaked away into the distance now, and Harrison Day and Finley Polehill all over the back of him. How long can he hold on?
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see as Harrison Day's looking at the inside, but it's still great to see the air-cooled bikes being able to compete up front with the liquid cools. Although the liquid cool is a slight step up, it's still great to see the air-cooled bikes up there.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, you never know, we might be seeing a defensive masterclass here from Byron Johnson. We'll just have to wait and see. Heading through the fast back section, of course, the Minimotos use that infield section of the Lydd kart circuit that the bigger bikes don't. So it's a bit of a slower lap, bit of a longer lap, bit more of a technical lap here. Of course, for the bigger bikes, we'll be seeing the pit bikes heading out shortly after this one. They are absolutely flying down this back section into the final corner, hard on the brakes. I mean, Keisho Gorman had a massive tumble there after, had an oil leak. Obviously hit the brakes and suddenly realised that his rear tyre was essentially liquid. Down he went, and there's not a lot of runoff into that final section either. These Minimotos, likely if they go down, they're approaching a much slower speed, not only due to the nature of the bike, but also the nature of that infield section, slowing them as they come round. It is still Byron Johnson holding on, and you've got a great deal of pro bikes out there as well. I mean, obviously you've got Austin Johnson who's leading, you've got Day, Polehill, and I believe I want to say, who is it? It's Sam Gardner, who doesn't seem to be out there today. I believe he may have been ruled out to race by the doctors, unfortunately. So only 3 LC bikes out there. So 3 LC bikes out there, 3 of the liquid-cooled bikes. Is Byron Johnson still holding on to that P2, and then lots of air-cooled bikes. You've got who are you looking at the moment? Byron Johnson. You've got Ollie O'Gorman, Rex Austin, Oliver Hall, Lewis Hull. Those two were battling for the lead yesterday in the AC Pro race. Liam Linkvist, Zach Pelagar as well. I know he's been struggling on his bike. They've had a whole host of issue as they go round that first chicane.
Yeah, Ross, as you mentioned earlier with the infield section, not only does it make it slightly slower and safer for the lack of runoff in some of the corners for these younger childs, but it also provides a lot more overtaking opportunities for these smaller motorcycles. Austin Johnson right now, it looks like he's just trying to control the pace and control the race. He's 3.8 seconds up the road and will not be wanting to take too many risks with just 5 laps to go, as if he can just keep the pace that he's at right now, it'll stay round about the same gap and he should be able to take this race.
Oh! Was there a touch there? Yep, that is Harrison Day touching tyres with Byron Johnson. He's back on the bike, all okay, but that could have been a big off, and that, I believe, is Oliver Hall at the side of the road.
His chain is hanging off, it looks like.
Yeah, chain's come off, I believe that's Oliver Hall's gone off. Yeah, chain, you're a rookies champion from last year, chain coming off the bike. So that looks like that'll be his race done. Of course, he wasn't even supposed to be in this race. He's only found out he was in this race this morning. So, he's done well to be going. He was doing very, very well up to that point, running P7. But yeah, chain come off and race over. Harrison Day gets back on the bike. He's in P4, but that could have been a very, very big accident. He looked to the inside, shot back across the outside, but I think he just misjudged it. Touched wheels with Byron Johnson. Lucky that Byron stayed on the bike as well. That could have been both of them going down. So it is now Austin still leading this race. He's actually, you can tell he's taking it easy because the gap's actually dropped a bit. It drops about half a second on that last lap. So he's, taking it easy. He knows he's got a very chill run to the finish. 4 laps to go, but it's not over yet because the battle is still on for P2 between Byron Johnson, Austin's brother, and Finley Polhill. Harrison Day as well. Well, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to close the gap 6 seconds, but we know he's got a lot of pace. We can certainly try and go on a comeback charge. But Finley Polhill now has to put the pressure on Byron Johnson if he wants to move up to P2.
Yeah, he certainly does, but it's great to see all riders up on their feet there, and it shows the headache that another class can create, as although they're on the same bike, now it's going to mean that they're going to have to get a bike fixed, not only for the next LC40 race, but also for the AC40 Pro race, which is before this, so it gives them even less time to get the bike prepared for the next race. A big shout out to Ollie O'Gorman down 7th place, who is of course Casey O'Gorman's younger brother, and it's great to see the O'Gorman family taking part in motorcycle racing.
Yeah, it is indeed. It's also important to point out Zach Pennegar as well, Zach Speed Pennegar, as we called him last year. I know he's been having a tough time on his pro bike. They went to Spain, as many of the Fab riders did over the winter, to get some testing in. Had 2 engine blow-ups and then had another engine stolen as well from the courier. So they've had this engine for a week. It's a new engine. I believe it's a GHR engine that they have in the bike now. Yeah, it's a new GHR motor, and it's obviously very different to what he's used to. He's literally had it in the bike for a week, so he's not quite comfortable on it yet. Still getting used to that new motor, so I know he's been struggling out there. So he's not on his usual form, but give it some time, and I'm sure, of course, in this LC40 race as well, so the bike's obviously a bit slower than what maybe is the rest of the field. You're looking at your Austin Johnsons, you're looking at your Finley Poles on those LC, those liquid-cooled bikes that are faster. So I'm sure, as we see there, that's Austin Johnson going through some lap traffic, and that was Zach Pennegar I was just talking about. I'm sure come the end of the day and the pro race, I'm sure Zach Speed Pennegar will be back up to his normal self, but it is Austin Johnson as he comes through to start the final lap. And of course, it's still early in the championship, Lewis, still very early on. Of course, this is the second race. This is important. Last lap flag is out, 1 more tour to go for Austin Johnson. Getting your championship off to a great start, it must be really important to him.
Yeah, with just 1 lap to go, Austin Johnson's going to remain focused and just get the bike home with a 3.7 second lead over his brother Byron Johnson. He's going to just keep calm, not think about this race one too much just yet. Going to want to keep it nice and clean so he can take it home and take the first race win of the day. Of course, this being the first round, this is going to bring momentum hopefully for the 8 rounds that these guys have. It's great to see Austin being up front, and the pace that he's showing, as we see, he just goes through the infield section, which the Minimoto is, of course, they're the only class that use it. As Austin Johnson has bet his brother in this race, as he comes around the final corner, it's a long sweep right-hander, the checker flag is out, Austin Johnson takes the win over his brother Byron. What's the incredible result as Byron Johnson's battling all the way to the end, and it comes across the line. 4.7 seconds difference between the 2 brothers, with Finley Polhill coming in 3rd.
Yeah, Finley Polhill very, very close there at the end. A 10th of a second separating him from 2nd place, and Byron Johnson. The 2 Johnson brothers reunited on the track, reunited on the top steps of the podium as well. Great to see that. Of course, that clear helmet, for that clear visor for Austin Johnson. You can see, he was really, really focusing. That's I do love seeing a clear visor, like you can see, you can just see into the eyes of the rider. Austin Johnson, there you go, winning 4.7 seconds was the margin. His brother Byron in P2. Finley Polhill came home and rounded out the podium. Harrison Day was 4th after that incident earlier on. Then it's Rex Austin in P5. Lewis Hull was P6. Ollie O'Gorman was P7. And Liam Linkvist came home in 8th. Zach Pennegar was actually the last runner that we had in P9, and Oliver Hall, unfortunately, we lost with that chain issue. And Dylan Torian we lost on the opening lap as well, unfortunately. But, as I was saying, as we come to an end for our morning Minimoto action, they'll all be back with their race leads later on, of course. But as I was saying, I always love it when riders race with a clear visor. You can just see into the helmet, you can see what they're thinking, and you can just see the sheer concentration that you need when you're motorcycle racing. Here we go. It's time for the final Minimoto race of the weekend. As you get ready We all know what's going to happen now. The riders lined up on the grid. Who's going to be victorious in the final race for the Minimotos this weekend? It's going to be lights on. Lights off, we're underway. It's a decent stop. Harrison Day, Sam Gardner behind him, gets away like an absolute rocket ship. It's Harrison Day who leads with Austin Johnson, Finley Polhill, Gardner in fourth. The air-cooled classes behind as well. All look pretty normal as they go through turn one. 17 bikes out on track. That's even more than we had in race 2. So great stuff to see there. Managed to get even more of the air-cooled classes to come along. And there we can see that's Byron Johnson actually challenging Finley Polhill, I think that was, coming through turn one. So already drama at the start.
Yeah, it certainly is. With 17 bikes in the grid, it's quite a big grid now. But that may be due to the lunch break and having more time to remove the restrictor to get the bikes ready for this class. Austin Johnson already off to a great start, a pretty big gap forming already from Harrison Day. He's going to want to repeat what he done last race and just try to get up front, keep the pace consistent, do not fall, and his brother Brian Johnson just behind Harrison Day, wanting to pass to the second place position.
Yeah, exactly, of course. I'm sure that the Johnsons, Austin and Byron, will be wanting to repeat their 1-2 that they got in race 2 earlier on. And then we can see that is Byron there, chasing Daniel Polster to Harrison Day, pushing, looking to the outside, looking to the inside. And Harrison Day probably looking to a similar defensive performance as Byron did to him earlier on. Just sit there on the racing line and make yourself look pretty. You ain't going through some as they head through the high speed back section and into the infield in a short moment's time. Will Byron Johnson be looking to the inside? No, he won't. Harrison Day goes on the defensive, keeps the door closed. But look how close Byron Johnson is pushing Harrison Day. He's almost touching wheels as they head through the hairpin. Super close between the two of them. And this is no holds barred racing. This is young riders out there giving it their all. And that is Byron Johnson on the air-cooled bike, trying and almost getting past Harrison Day. He pops a wheelie down the main straight. Wow, Byron Johnson, he's got a lot of pace on board that AC40 and he wants that second place again.
Yeah, he certainly does. It's a real testament to how great these air-cooled bikes are. As we see, he's just trying to find a way past at the chicane as we head round to a fast sweeping right-hander. Byron Johnson, of course, as I said, on the air-cooled bike, although it may not be as fast as the liquid-cooled, it can still be competitive, and he has shown this right now.
Well, it certainly is a great display of rider talent as well, but that does not take away from Harrison Day. Of course, he's been winning races in many classes throughout the weekend, and still looking forward to getting at least a podium, if not a win here today. If he can close the gap to Austin Johnson, currently 3.5 seconds with the 7 laps to go. And of course, anything can happen in Motorsport. Again, almost touching front and rear wheels there. Byron Johnson and Harrison Day. And while this is happening, Finley Polhill in 4th place. He's going to be sitting there thinking, surely, and again, Byron Johnson to the inside through the final corner, has to back off because he's getting squeezed by Harrison Day. And Harrison Day playing a bit of mind games out there. You know, he knows that Byron Johnson has the pace. He's thinking, I'm not going to let you through here. I'm just going to close the gap. Even if you're alongside me, Byron Johnson having to lift to stop the accident happening. This is mind games among like 8-year-olds.
Yeah, he certainly did. Harrison Day is taking a tighter line into the final corner, which makes Byron Johnson have to back out of it last minute.
Yeah, it's, very tight. Maybe we'll be seeing some of the same antics this lap round as well. Harrison Day defending stoically from Byron Johnson. It's a great performance already on the defensive front. And that is Austin Johnson. He's had a tumble up the front, back on the bike, still in the lead. Such was his lead. It was 5 seconds at the line last time. I'm sure we're going to be a little bit closer this time. But maybe a knock to Austin Johnson's confidence now. Maybe Harrison Day thinking about smelling blood.
Yeah, he certainly might, as we wait to see the lap time. It was a 1 minute lap time there from Austin Johnson after that fall, so not incredibly slow for crashing on that lap. He managed to keep the bike going, which has really helped him keep this lead.
Yeah, it has. I mean, it's maybe a crash and win, or a tumble and a win for Austin Johnson here today. Of course, still 5 laps to go, and anything can happen, and we're just going to have to wait and see what happens in the final Minimoto race of the weekend here. Round 1 of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship here at the Lydd kart circuit in Kent. And still Byron Johnson putting the pressure onto Harrison Day, trying to spoil his day as they look for a way through. And there goes Finley Polhill as well, having a look, having a think to the inside. No, not quite close enough. And Byron Johnson maybe poking a wheel again. It's very tight. Harrison Day doing as good as, if not better, as Byron Johnson's defensive efforts in race 2. And there goes Byron Johnson again and again. Harrison Day just closing the door. No, it's brilliant. And there goes Finley Polehill to the inside, unable to make the move. But Harrison Day, he is not letting Byron Johnson past at all. He is holding firm and he's holding proud, and he's going, this second place is mine.
Yeah, he certainly is. And Austin Johnson is straight back on the pace. The crash has not affected him at all. He's just put that crash to the back of his mind, kept calm, and he's trying to keep this lead, keep this win with just 4 laps to go, as he knows that he has a nice gap from Harrison Day in second place, who's involved in the battle with his brother.
He does indeed. There we go, looking further back. This time it's a bit more spread out between this battle for second. Finley Polehill maybe a bit closer to Byron Johnson than Byron would like. And Johnson just closed up so much time for that second hairpin. He's really, really good coming off that second hairpin. And then again on the entry to the final corner, he just pokes his nose up the inside. It isn't close enough this time, but maybe Harrison Day getting wise to it as well, holding a tighter line. 3 laps to go at the line for these boys this time by, as they get going again out of the first chicane. Very, very tight. Finley Polehill there looks like he might have made a little mistake, losing a little bit of time through there. But as it stands, Austin Johnson from Harrison Day, from Byron Johnson, your top 3. Will there be any changes over the last 2 laps? Well, let's wait and find out.
Finley Polehill, as you mentioned, he will be wanting Harrison Day and Byron Johnson just have a scrap and a battle. This will mean that he'll be able to catch up, as they'll be tripping each other up, slowing each other down, affecting each other's drives onto the straight. As we have a look at the battle further back involving Jensen Bishop for the battle for 8th place, I believe. As we go round to the infield section of the track.
Yep, there we go to the infield section, around that fast back section, of course. The Minimotos using that tight and twisty hairpin layout of the Lydd kart circuit. This part was built back in 1996, so a few years after the original construction of the track. And there to the outside, trying and sweeping around the outside goes Thomas. A lovely little move there to get up into P9. Great stuff. And then it'll be 2 laps to go this time for these lot. And there is Byron Johnson, still putting the pressure on to Harrison Day. He is pushing like a madman, and apparently Austin Johnson has retired by the looks of things, because Austin Johnson has gone off in the infield, and that might be him done, because Harrison Day is now in the lead of the race. Unbelievable. So Harrison Day now leads. I'm not sure if he knows. I'm not sure if Byron Johnson knows, because this is now for the race lead. Byron Johnson into the race lead on an air-cooled bike.
Yeah, this is amazing stuff. It's the last lap. I think they may know this is for the race when they're going to push as hard as they can. Byron Johnson wants to win this race so he can say he won an liquid-cooled race in an air-cooled bike.
That would be unbelievable if he could do that. What a performance this would be from Byron Johnson. He's picked his overtake time perfectly. Austin Johnson's gone down and is out of the race. If he isn't out, he's out the very back. And Byron Johnson on an air-cooled bike in a liquid-cooled base is looking like he is about to come home and secure a victory, but it's not over yet, because Harrison Day could still be on the attack. There is still lap traffic to try and get through. Harrison Day looking to send one down the inside, and that's Byron Johnson touching. Oh my goodness me. Wow, Zach Speed Pennegar getting shoved out of the way by Byron Johnson. He was going through because he knows there is a win out here on the line. Harrison Day can't get through. Byron Johnson rounds the final corner on an air-cooled bike to win the final race of the LC40 Championship. Unbelievable from Byron Johnson.
Amazing racer from Byron Johnson. He took absolutely no prisoners on the final lap. If there was lap traffic, he was getting past, and then it caused the gap to bridge with Harrison Day. As we look at the top 3, with Byron Johnson being your winner, Harrison Day coming home in second place, and Finley Polehill will be delighted with that third.
Well, I don't know if Byron knows that he's won that race, so I don't know if he saw his brother go down. He's waving to the camera anyway. But that is an unbelievable achievement if he has won that. A win in an air-cooled bike in the liquid-cooled race. Wow, unbelievable stuff there. Byron Johnson, though, your race winner. Wow, unbelievable. A 1 second winning margin after that late traffic for Harrison Day ruined his chances. Harrison Day did hold on for P2, though. Finley Polehill finishes in P3 as well. Oliver Hall brings home in P4 with Lewis Hull P5, then Ollie O'Gorman in 6th place, followed by Jensen Bishop, Liam Lindqvist, Matthew Thomas and Rex Austin rounding out the grid. But, I mean, Byron Johnson, I don't even know what to say, because he started in race 2. You know, he came in because there was track time available on the, you know, there was a class with 4 riders in, there was track time available. The AC guys got invited into the LC race by the FAB organisers, and he's gone and won the last race.